It's interesting to see how, you could take J. Cole's The Offseason, you could take Kanye West's Donda, you could take Drake's CLB, and then you could take Kendrick Lamar's Mr. Moral and the Big Steppers, and, have a little fun with the comparison of them. Because this is what's interesting about it, is that I feel as if you have to give them their own respect in each of their lanes. I feel as if they've all strived in different ways, and I think that you can't necessarily, maybe pin it down to one, but, what
That's
do you think
what we're going to try to do, though, bro.
But what do you think about that conversation? Like,
It's an interesting one.
You could.
Yeah, because I remember like in 2019 we were having the conversation and we're like, okay, out of Drake, out of J. Cole, and out of Kendrick, out of the big three, which one of them would be able to transcend into a new era into the 2020s? And that's exactly what Drake was talking about on his Rap Radar interview. And I think that this is kind of a good place to kind of assess that conversation because this is their first album in this new decade. So it's cool to see just because, I mean, you could argue that like commercially they're all a bit past their peak to some degree since they're kind of aging in their game. And what's interesting is that like in comparing these four albums, I feel like right away we can take Certified Lover Boy out of the equation.
No, you have to. You're really doing that
in terms of what's the best one out of these four.
Yeah.
I think there's no way that you could even consider it in these four.
Listen, okay,
what points could you make realistically? It's a good album. Don't get me wrong. But realistically, and listen, I know the Drake stands are not going to be happy because we have all the fan bases coming into this video. But I mean, realistically, what argument could you make?
It's a tough one. I get you, and I didn't
production wise, concept wise,
yeah.
Amount of filler in the track list. There's nothing that it has going for it in comparison to the rest.
Sheesh, that's a
listen,
tough. Okay.
It's not to be like too fucking
I get you, but let's
picky with it. But
I don't want to say that because like.
You know what it has? It has the numbers, bro. It was the biggest album out of the four. I'll salute it for that. But that's about it.
The commercial success, that's all we're giving it? Okay.
But,
all right.
Let me explain myself, though. But
okay.
I do think that it's because Drake was in cruise control on that project. And I think that when you're looking at the formula for Drake projects, we've started to see it develop. And it works, don't get me wrong. But you're seeing now that Drake has the biggest audience in hip-hop and maybe in all of music. And he has so many different pockets and areas to cater to. And that's why, to me, it seemed like, especially on this album, he spread himself out a bit too thin. And I feel like you also got that in certain songs. Like, for example, You Only Live Twice is a direct sequel to the motto.
I get you.
Also, a song like TSU is a direct sequel. Actually, not even a sequel, but more of like a redo-over of Houston, Atlanta, Vegas.
Okay, I get you.
So
absolutely.
It's like he's literally, he's remaking songs that he's done in the past.
Lou, and listen, I will say that, but I just like... I still do think it's a really good list.
But is it in this conversation?
No.
We're talking about the best album out of these four. It's not in the conversation.
I don't think
That's
so.
my point.
I don't think so. You're right on that point. But like I don't want to discredit it, in this conversation. I do think it places below, but like that's not a bad thing. I just think that, we have to consider its qualities because there's too many people that shit on it. I'm being honest with you. There's a lot of people that do shit on this album.
We got to look at it for face value, though.
I get you.
At face value, it ranks number 4 out of these three, and there's a bit of a considerable gap because all three of these other albums, while they do, have certain flaws here and there, I think they're all phenomenal, and I think that in terms of looking at the best one, it's tough. It's tough to say.
But let's address the elephant in the room then. What's going next now? You have 3 major albums. You have J. Cole's The Offseason, you have Mr. Moral and the Big Steppers, and then after that you have Donda. So I think I'm going Donda 3, bro. I'm being honest with you.
I think it is a tussle between The Offseason and Mr. Morale. And I think Donda will be viewed as maybe more of a classic than any of these other albums 10 years from now, just because of the reflection that it had on Ye's life during that time,
but I also,
the rollout, right?
Yes, I think that it was the biggest moment out of all of these, and you could argue that too for CLB, the CLB and Donda thing, like that was a bit.
It's like a modern day Curtis versus Graduation.
Absolutely, like it was on some real, like that was on some really, really, really cool stuff. When you're looking at, let's say, a rollout goes and like how those head to heads. I think that it was the most competitive album with CLB. But looking at the offseason and Mr. Moral and the Big Steppers, I want to say this. I feel as far as rap performances go, I'll give it to Cole for the offseason. But I think as far as a body of work goes, I'll give it to Mr. Moral and the Big Steppers. I think that's what I have to say right now about that.
Yeah, it's super tough to say. I mean, I feel like going into these albums, all 4 of these artists had let's say different goals. You know what I mean? For Drake, it was to continue his supremacy in the game and to continue being on top musically, in his opinion, and of course, numbers wise.
And he achieved that.
And he achieved that, of course. For J. Cole, it was to elevate his pen, and he did that. I think as an MC, he had better performances than any other rapper that we're talking about in this convo. And I think that he showed to be the most improved. Out of everybody on this list, I feel like he really elevated the most. And like going to songs like 95 South, going to songs like My Life, you're like, holy shit, I never heard, Cole rapping at this tempo.
I want to say this about, the offseason as well, is that I feel as if you got a complete body of work as far as like a rap album goes, It feels like a real rap album that maybe you would have gotten, in the years, like let's say between 2005 and 2010, obviously with modern sounds. But, it did have that influence to it, and that's what I liked about it. Plus, where I think Donda strived the most was probably within the whole concept of it being the most timeless, let's say, rollout and like, let's say, statured album out of anything else.
It's my favorite rollout of all time. It's literally the best rollout I've ever witnessed.
It was a really big roller coaster, and Kanye was giving it his all. I think that, as far as like a grand entrance, it was still the biggest. But down to album, I think it goes to Mr. Around the Big Steppers. I'm not going to lie to you. It was the best put together album out of all four of those. And I think that how could you not expect it from Kendrick Lamar? You know what you're getting into. And I feel as if, the people and the different arguments that I've been hearing of Mr. Around the Big Steppers, a lot of it like doesn't low-key even make sense, because what they're nitpicking about is right in the album for them, and I don't feel as if they understand.
What are some of those like nitpicks? Like,
I would say some people say that like, bro, like you go into it and
no replay value, right?
No replay value,
Yeah.
And then after that, some people were also talking about maybe the writing being too simple and all that type of shit. I'm like, dude, like are you going back and listening to that album for what it is? Like you're not getting highs like let's say something like Father Time, or let's say like let's say something like I don't know, Worldwide Steppers, or let's say something like Mr. Morale. Like those are really big moves musically. And Jack, the founder of Twitter, was saying it perfectly. He's like, there's so much to gain out of this album as far as knowledge and value goes.
Yeah, well, you know what it is? It's the most thought-provoking album out of all of these. Like, it's the one that generated the most conversation after it was released. I think it's the best written album out of all of these. I think it has the best concepts for songs, in the sense that, like, you're listening to something like Auntie Diaries, and the storyline that he's taking you through, his different perspective. I mean, what that song means for the trans community, and especially in the realm of hip hop, that's groundbreaking. Not only that, but a song like Father Time, where he's kind of flipping the script and the narrative on, instead of females having daddy issues, guys having daddy issues. Again, another groundbreaking concept that not many people have touched before. So it's cool to see Kendrick, do what he does best, because for him, he was kind of battling with his own catalog when it came to Mr. Morale, and he accomplished that. He put out what a lot of his fans consider a top 3 album in his catalog. And if you're looking for depth and conceptual song making, Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers takes the cake.
Yes.
If you're looking for maybe the smoothest listen and the more bar-heavy stuff where you're getting these literary devices like the wordplay, like the fucking metaphors, like all of that good shit that Cole brought in the offseason, that's where you go for
Absolutely.
that. If you're looking for innovation musically and sonically, I'll go to Donda, because what he did to bring in those gospel sounds infused with this modern hip-hop soundscape, that shit fucking blew me away, bro. And it's not my favorite thing.
Absolutely.
But I like it. I respect it.
And then, even CLB on the Impact, man, like being able to still do, like, no one was cracking over that 500,000 over, after COVID. And Drake did it like right away. He did it right away after that. And that's what's so impressive about CLB, I think, is the Midas touch still. He still has like that presence, over music. And I really, I did enjoy seeing that. And listen, I got songs that are growing on me right now, man. I'm being honest with you. It's a grow over an album. Like,
for sure.
People really like to discredit it because they don't like it, and I didn't want to come into this conversation and just completely take it out of the conversation right away.
That's what I wanted to do, because I feel like it wasn't even a debate, bro.
Listen,
and it's not a debate, bro.
As far as music goes, like,
no,
listen,
it's
not up to
exactly. But let me ask you this: like, we spoke about, what's the best album out of these. I think we agree that it's Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, even though if someone wants to tell me the offseason, I could see the argument, because I think in terms of like total songs in the album compared to how many songs I'm saving, that ratio, the offseason gets it, because besides 100 mil, every song is top fucking tier.
Okay, so
on Mr. Morale, on the other hand,
but that's what I want to ask you though right now. Okay, do you see yourself, in the future going more to the offseason?
Absolutely, without a doubt.
Right.
So
I'm on that same page.
That takes me to replay value. I want you to tell me, like, out of all these albums, we've had, at minimum over a month to sit with all of these.
Yes.
So what's your rotation like in terms of how much you're bumping these?
Wow. Okay. So at the moment, to this day forward, okay. Let's say number one, Mr. Ron the Big Steppers, because it just came out. That's most heavy.
Really? I thought it was kind of creeping out of it for you a bit.
No. I'm still really heavy with the album.
Wow.
How could I have to give it the time of day?
For sure.
He's my favorite artist of all time. I have to. I really do genuinely enjoy it, and I attack more of this conversation with an unpersonal bias, because if I wanted to say that, then
It's got to be personal. It's your rotation.
Absolutely. As far as rotation goes, I do have it still there. Then as far as J. Cole's The Off Season, it's there. Then I put I'm listening to more CLB now than I am Donda. I'm being honest with you.
I think
that I'm more visiting more songs there than I am right now. I still do think that Donda's a better album. But how about you? What's your rotation?
I think Mr. Morale will suffer with replay value for me, down the line.
So where is it right now?
I explained this in other videos. Right now, it's probably ranked...
Rotation right now, what you've been bumping?
The off-season's number one.
Okay.
That's what I've been bumping the most of, and that's just because Cole brings in these fucking punchlines bullets be humming like Cuddy, excuse me. One of your hoodies is going to be spaghetti with splashing. When I get those bars, I rewind the track, and that's what Cole brought for me, and I love the sport of emceeing, so that's why it's been high up there for me. Second place, I'm going to have to say Donda right now. I won't even lie to you. And it's I don't revisit all 27 songs. I don't do full listens of Donda. It's just,
so what have you been
it's too
bumping
time
off
consuming.
of it?
But 24 is a song that brings so much healing and a very therapeutic kind of listen. Off the Grid is still a slapper to me.
Absolutely.
I'm still enjoying, of course, Life of the Party, which was on the deluxe. I'm still going back to songs like Jonah. I'm still going back to...
Jonah's such an underrated song of that album.
Yeah.
What a fantastic
I'm going back
listen.
to a lot of tracks.
Yeah.
Then third place, as of right now, Mr. Morale and CLB kind of at the bottom.
What are you revisiting from CLB, let's say? What do you got out of there?
Champagne Poetry, which is
I find it super fire.
Again, another attempt at a Tuscan Leather, which isn't as
it's
good.
Different, though.
But
it's a much different song, though. I think that
the beat switch,
structure-wise,
the vocal samples being manipulated. I don't know.
Okay,
There's
no, but it's on a much different tone now. It's like the Tuscan Leather. It's like the Tuscan Leather of Drake's career, but in 2022. Where he's at mindset-wise and what he's coming through.
You
with.
could see the different formulaic aspects to the song making.
Yeah, because listen, man, he's doing a remake of that song, but in a different perspective, and I enjoyed it. I did like it because it does bring in quality, and it was a fantastic rapping performance, bro. It was both those performances, even on the beat switch, were absolutely mesmerizing. So I'm going back there. I'd probably say
Fair Trade is big for me,
Fair
bro.
Trade has really been in there. I'd probably say YOLO 2's been in there as well. I would probably have to say Fountains is in there. Pipe Down is always in my rotation. I'm a big fan of that song as well.
What else? I would go with Race My Mind. Is probably my favorite
Love
R&B
All.
cut.
I think Love All is one
Love
of my
All is really good, but I wanted to get Drake sparring with Hove, which he didn't do.
But listen, for what you got though was absolutely fire. We're gonna play that song after this.
Oh no, I love that track.
It's really fucking good.
Then also, In the Bible is Slept On for me.
Yeah,
I really fuck with that one. I really like it.
That was the first time I ever heard you say that.
It's grown on me, bro.
Okay,
I'm not a fan of Girls Want Girls. I'm not a fan of
Heartbreak is absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
Race My Mind's there. Fountains. Trust. There's some fucking.
But it's 21
there's some
songs.
fucking tracks.
It's 21 songs, bro.
But listen, you had to do it. Okay, what do you want to say?
You didn't have to. You didn't have to.
Absolutely,
bro,
does. Come on.
I've been dying for a focused Drake album. When I heard the title Certified Lover Boy, I'm like, okay, we're getting a full-on R&B album. This is exciting. This is into new territory for Drizzy.
You set yourself up for.
I know, but it's impossible not to go in with expectations with these albums.
No, you have to go in with expectations, but I feel as if that was you have certain moments in the podcast where you have a little bit of a halo reach. There, you had a halo reach. When has Drake ever done that? It's never gonna happen.
No, and I like that he's a chameleon. I'm just saying. I think since he's been having this kind of approach where he's attacking so many different sounds, why not focus on one for this next project? Because he's been doing this. That's my take on it. But something else I wanted to ask you, which I think could be fun, is top 5 songs from all 4 albums.
From all 4, okay.
Combined.
Okay.
Start off with number 5. I know it's going to be tough to compile on the spot.
Jeez, bro, that's actually tough.
I know.
Okay. So, bro, I feel like I'm really.
And you can't choose all 5 from Mr. Morale.
I can't. Absolutely not. No. I'll go. Okay, let me do Father Time. Then
number 5.
Father Time, no, that would be
That's my number one.
that would be number one out of all of these. Number two, I would go with Life of the Party. After that, number three, I would go. I want to go Let Go My Hand. Then after that, number four, I want to go with. Give me. Wow, this
Mother
is
I
tough.
Sober, is that cracking in there?
You know what? I may have to go with Believe What I Say. I think I'm going to that at number
W.
I think I'm going to Believe What I Say there. And then
Fucking
after that,
W.
number five, fuck, that's tough.
Any
I-
Drizzy love here for top 5?
That's what I'm debating. I have some. You know what? I'll give it to Love All. Fuck it. I'll
Love
do
All. It's your favorite off of CLB right now.
Yeah, it's my
Sheesh.
favorite off of CLB.
Nice.
Love All. Okay, how
Okay.
about you? What are you going?
Top
Combine
5. Number 1 is Father Time with
Absolutely.
Sampha. Fucking beautiful. Number 2 is gonna have to be Give Me the Climb Back off of the off season.
Oh, that's like, fuck. Okay, yeah. I never really consider it in like the off-season track list just because it came out on the Lewis Street EP. But yeah, okay,
Yeah.
I think you could consider it there.
Climb Back number 2. Number 3, Give Me 24 by Kanye West.
Ooh,
Number 4, I'm gonna go 95 South to J. Cole.
Yeah.
Number 5, I'm gonna go Fair Trade. off of
Yeah,
Certified
Fair
Lover
Trade.
Boy.
There we go. Okay, so
Rhythmically,
you see,
bro, he was different there.
Something off of Drake's album ended up making the top 5. You see, I'm telling you, we underestimate.
I know, but if this was like a top 25, it'd be a different story.
No, I think you're gonna say, come on, you wouldn't put Fountains in there or something like, let's say, Even Race My Mind. Like, there's some really
couple.
There's a
couple.
there's a good amount of strong tracks on there. But guys, I want to know what's your top 5 compiled from all of these 4 albums, and let me know in the comment section how you feel about this conversation. I want to know, where do you think Lou and I fucked up, and where do you think we got it right as far as our takes go. Thank you guys so much for watching all the videos. We see all the love and support. Really means a lot to the whole team. Thank you so much for watching this, and we'll catch you in the next one.